From the Intellifluence headquarters in sunny Scottsdale, Arizona, this is the Intellifluence Influencer Spotlight. In each episode, we sit down with an influencer from our network and we discuss their background as well as their unique approach to influencer marketing. Tamela D'Amico is an award-winning American recording artist, actress, and filmmaker, including writer, producer, director, as well as a Telly award-winning social influencer who started her own production company to create vehicles for the many facets of her career, in addition to making others' dreams come true. Tamela has starred in Walt Before Mickey, One Little Finger, and Rob the Mob, to name a few. Additionally, Tamela launched into the jazz scene, having recorded her debut album Got a Little Story and was named Clear Channel's Best New Jazz Vocalist. Recently, Tamela released an electro swing single titled Boring 20s. You can learn more at tameladamico.com and follow Tamela on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, to name a few. Tamela, thank you so much for taking some time out of your afternoon to speak with us. We really appreciate it. My first question... Absolutely. Our pleasure. Can you briefly tell us about your background, including how you got into the entertainment industry?
Sure. All I can tell you is I'm the youngest of 5 kids in an Italian family with a large age gap between our ages. And I have a very huge Italian family, like 400 people. Like our third cousins feel like first cousins, like we're very close. And growing up in that sort of lifestyle enables you to relate to many different people on many levels. And also it makes you be, whether you want to be or not, outgoing. So I always had an interest in the arts. And because I was the youngest of 5 and there was an age gap between my siblings and I didn't go to preschool. So I was home with my mom. And I watched not Sesame Street, not Mr. Rogers or anything like that. I watched a New York nostalgia network, which would be the equivalent of like AMC or Turner Classics. So I thought those things were current, like the Judy Garland show. Judy Garland, of course, people know from Wizard of Oz and all those things, a lot of black and white things. I Love Lucy. I thought that's, what was on TV. So thusly, because that old studio system existed back then where you had to be good at everything, you had to sing, you had to dance, you had to act, you had to do everything in one, I thought, oh, that's what Hollywood is. And that was sort of like my early training, and I wanted to be a part of that world. And I've always felt like I'm an old soul. And that's why I got into jazz and American standards and all that stuff. But I think it really came from there. I do enough of these interviews and we've sort of backtracked it to that had to be it, where I just thought, this is what I'm watching. It's on TV. It's all very possible. And my mother and dad were very good at coddling each of us and what we wanted to do, but not like a showbiz parent or like a helicopter parent. They just were very gentle and like, oh, well, she's interested in this, so you should get in this class or whatnot, So it sort of stemmed from there. And then I was very active in high school. I had moved from New York to Florida, and New York schools are very progressive in relation. So I was kind of ahead of my schooling, and I got involved in the radio program and the TV program and the theater and all these things, not just in school, but in the community. So I was like doing radio shows and writing for the local paper and all these things just to be a part of entertainment, right? So then from there, I went to film school at Florida State University, graduated early there, and came out to LA, and have been LA, New York, bi-coastal for years in all my different arms of talent. And now you have to be, I call it a predator, which is like producer, writer, director, actor, it's everything in one. It used to be not cool to be what is now called a content creator or an influencer. It used to be not cool. People wanted you to like take one lane, But I was like, well, I know how to do all these things and I'm getting put in those positions. So today I'm acting and tomorrow I'm directing. And so it sort of just happened organically, but it has been a trek to get people to accept that. And now, like I said, of course, you have to be good at a lot of things to sort of make traction, especially in the influencer space, because when you're working with a brand, you are the talent, you are the editing it, you're doing it, unless you have a whole team of people, which it's rare, So I'm fortunate to have had all of those things in my lifetime to have an education and to be able to utilize them all now.
Exactly, and I can relate to the sentiment about being an old soul. And you know, I kind of pinpointed it as you were saying it, because I grew up without cable. So I'd go to my grandparents' house and he'd put on Rear Window, and I'm like, this is living. This is my favorite movie of all time. And then they'd have Oscar Peterson playing in the background. so I can relate on those levels for sure. And so it's an understatement by far to say that you're multi-talented, whether you consider your TV film credits, albums, singles, and even the short film Fever that you put out during the pandemic you made on an iPhone. You're also very active on social media. So what's your favorite type of social media content to produce?
I love working with brands that are like, hey, we love what you're doing. We love your vibe. Like, make us something, be free. And I'm like, really? Are you sure? You know, and I'll pitch them. They're like, that sounds awesome. Go for it. And they just trust. I love that trust balance, because in today's world, I just was on the phone with somebody explaining to them, like, advertising does not exist the way we know growing up. Like, now you zoom through commercials, you don't even watch them. You can pay to not have to watch them. So brands are really considering influencers in that space to be the go-to, because that is how you're reaching people. We're on TikTok all day, we're on Instagram all day, and even Facebook. And people are tuning into you. Like, you are the Truman Show, right? People are tuning into you. So they're like, you already have the fan base, you have the traction. My audience are buyers. That's why people hire me to do stuff. My people do buy. So if I'm working with a brand, and I will only work with people that I actually believe in and I would actually use that brand. Believe me, there's a lot of branding work that gets done where people are getting paid, and it's like, I can't do that. And that's why I have trust with my audience. But in the influencer space and working in social media, I love when people are like, we love what you do, let's collaborate, or pitch us, and like, we'll make tweaks or whatnot, because I have such freedom. And that is rare when you're just an actor in a commercial and they're like, do this and turn your head really strangely, and like, okay, that's it, that's the shot. And you're like, what's happening? And you don't even know what their plan is until you see that final like Super Bowl commercial or something, you know? But I love having the freedom, and I love being able to do all those things. So.
Absolutely, and checking out your social media, Goalie and Hoover were at the top of the list. I love what you did with those campaigns, especially the Hoover was fantastic.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hoover was so fun for me. I actually did 3 things with them, but 2 of them really popped, and I won a Telly Award for that, which to me was fantastic, because the people who win Telly Awards are advertising people. They're not like regular people, you know? So this was their first year in honoring content creators and influencers. And I got one, and I was like, this is so fantastic, because I really shot it like it was a commercial, you know? That's where I come from my filmmaker background. I'm like, I want to actually give you something that's worthwhile, that it could be on air, you know, on regular airwaves.
Absolutely. And then reading your bio as well, you breaking into the jazz scene, recording your initial album. I was surprised to see the name of the producer, Peter Krause.
Yeah, Peter Krause, one of my producers. Yeah, he. What had ended up happening is, you know, like you said, jazz is a niche market. When I first came to Los Angeles, I was put in a pop space and an R&B space and all these things, doing different things with my voice. And I was like, jazz is my heart, because at the end of the day, jazz stands the test of time.
Yep.
So with my debut album, which now is so many moons ago, it feels, I was like, I want to do it like Frank Sinatra. I want to do it like Ella Fitzgerald at Capitol Records with the big band, live in the room. People do not record that way now. Now it's like they're literally, you know, everything's done. They're recording their vocals and they're taking it syllable by syllable, and it's all manipulated and it's not organic. And I'm like, I need the freight train essence of what a big band is, and you have to be in tune and in step with them, otherwise you get run over, you know? And when you're vibing. So I wanted to do it that way, and that cost a lot of money. So we had lost financing, and then I ended up raising money, and then Peter Krause did step in and said, like, he had seen me perform a number of times, and he was like, yeah, this is something, you know, this is something very real, and who's doing this, you know? So we did that. That was great. And I've produced many other big band albums and other singles and movie soundtracks and all that stuff. So it's been fantastic. And then last year I ended up being very like cagey over pandemic when we were really in quarantine, right? And that's how Fever, which you mentioned, came along, because I had a very strange dream about being ill and all this stuff. And I was like, hey, my husband, we just got married. He was my fiance at the time. I was like, let's shoot this. And we didn't have our whole Blackmagic camera package yet. So I was like, let's shoot on our iPhone. I think it was an iPhone 11 Pro or something. I was like, let's shoot on this and just see. And it was very expensive, experimental and weird. And it won awards. And I was like, who cares? But in that time, I was like, let me go through my files of what I want to do that I haven't done. And that was when I first got into the music business. I was hired, like people didn't even know this because I just went under Tamela and it was like in Europe. Yeah. I was hired to do some like dance tracks, which would be like electronica dance or whatnot. And I did that just as a work for hire. I didn't want to do that for a career. And they ended up taking off there and I made some money from that. And I always had wanted to meld electronica with like dance with jazz. And this being the new 20s, I was like, oh, this is going to be a resurgence of jazz and all these things. And of course, nothing happened. So I had this idea to do a song called Boring 20s about everything that was going on and what everybody was feeling. And inadvertently, you know, you talk and the phone listens, as people say. And things started popping up in my feed on Twitter about electro swing music. And I had seen, I don't even remember the track at this point, but I had heard a track by these two producers. And all I can tell you is like, I was jealous of it. Like I had that feeling as an artist and I was like, damn it. Oh my God, I wish that was me. Like I want to do that. So I contacted them. I had no idea how huge they were in their own genre. I contacted them and I said, I really want to do this, blah, 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 everything I just said. And they were like, let's go. So we only communicated just like, we didn't even Zoom until everything was done and released. Like we only communicated through email. We had never met. We had never spoken on the phone. And we just started doing skeleton tracks. And I was in the shower one day and I was like with the skeleton track singing. And I was like, I think this is something. I think this might be good, And then my husband was like inadvertently humming it. And I'm like, right, that's a hook. I was like, oh my God, it's working. So that went forward and then came out like gangbusters, and it will probably re-release again this year with like a mix, an edit mix of it. And it just kind of took off. And I just felt like, wow, even though Fever was this small thing and like, shot in an iPhone and Boring 20s was like a crapshoot, I just was like, oh my God, I love that I did these two things over pandemic because I have to, as an artist, like have my hands in something. And I was so crazy to do something, and now of course we're out of that area, but yeah, that's how those two things came about, was from my frustration as an artist and as a content creator, as just a being of somebody who's in the arts and needing to create all the time. I had to like put that out into the world.
I love it. Yeah, I was bumping to Boring 20s, putting this interview together. I have a trail race coming up, so that'll probably be on my playlist to keep me going. It was perfect beat. Nice. Perfect beat. Yeah. And then, so yeah, with everything that you have going on, what's an average day like for you? How do you structure your average day to get everything completed that you need to, and then have some time for yourself to relax?
I've got lists everywhere, on the phone, on sticky notes, on the computer. I have a bunch of different things, and really every day is different, and that's how I prefer it. I think the beauty of being your own business is that you set your schedule, right? Your schedule is your own. And I have like ritualistic things that I do in the morning. And then after that, it's like, okay, what's on the docket for the day that's very pressing? And the great thing about being a content creator is like, you do have deadlines. And just like you would be working for a company that has like a board and like I have that on my computer. I'm like, okay, this is done at this date. This is what I have to do by then and whatnot. And it's all fun. Like I can't believe I get to play for a living, basically, I mean, it's a lot of hard work, don't get me wrong, but just being able to play in all these different areas, I just feel very, very blessed, for lack of a, trite term, but I do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And last but not least, what do you have planned for this year? Anything on tap?
I have a number of things that were pushed from pandemic that we're still waiting on dates for. That's movies and different things. As a writer, I've got a number of things in the docket that are floating around, and just more of the same. Like I'm not just like a pusher of Goalie. Everyone always wants to talk to me about Goalie. Like, Goalie happened for me because I cannot swallow pills. Like, I'm such an infant. I think I choked on something as a kid, and then choked on cheese eating pizza, and then I got like this fear. Yeah. So it's completely psychosomatic. I will try to take an aspirin, and I'm like holding onto the cabinet, like, okay, like prepping myself. And I was like, this is a real issue. Like, I cannot take vitamins. So it started from there with, they had these ACV gummies, apple cider vinegar gummies, and then they went into other spaces of multivitamins and all these different things. And I was like, oh my God, this company is essentially saving my life. So when I initially had posted for them, I had posted just on the basis of, I love this stuff, you guys should check this out. And then they contacted me and they said, hey, we would love to work with you. So I'm doing a lot of work with them this year, continuing, and they're just about to launch something in March. And I love being a part of those campaigns because they are changing the game in the gummy world. Their stuff is organic, it's healthy for you, everything is reasonably sourced. They also give back with donations and things. And I love being a part of companies like that. And that's basically the goal for the year in the social media genre arm of my career. I want to only really work with, and I have this on my website, like I want to work with brands that are sustainable or cruelty free or have fair trade, or, they really have a concern for the world, because in being an influencer, like I said, you get offered all of these things and it's so easy. I mean, I ripped up a huge check because I was working with this health company. And then when I got the product, it said Prop 65 and made in China, when they said they were in Miami and it was spirulina. And I was like, I can't believe I have to rip up your check, but I cannot put out something that is a health product and then it says Prop 65. And as an influencer, you carry insurance now. I recommend everybody to, because you have a liability and somebody can be like, I got this because of you. And, so I'm very careful about who I work with. So for that arm, that's going on. Acting right now, it's pilot season. So doing a lot of auditions in every realm. And like I said, in the filmmaking world, it's just things take a while to get off the ground, but I've got a lot of things in the fire.
Want to join Intellifluence as an influencer? It's free, easy, and you get to keep 100% of your earnings. Go to Intellifluence.com, click or tap influencers, then click or tap the join for free button. Once you have registered for free as an influencer, you can start creating offers with custom pricing and services. Brands can pitch you to work with them via these offers. Once you have created your offers, head over to the marketplace and browse opportunities for brands. Apply to any and all that are a great fit. Earn cash quickly by referring your friends and family. The Intellifluence for Influencers app enables you to earn free products or cash in exchange for your honest reviews using your mobile device. Upon logging in, or signing up for free if you haven't already, you will arrive at your custom dashboard where you can view transactions that need your attention at a glance or browse our recommended offers from brands. Check out marketplace offers from brands and apply to your favorites. Once you accept a pitch from a brand, you can complete the entire transaction anywhere using your mobile device and communicate with the brand using our intuitive messaging tool. You will never have to go outside the app. View your earnings summary, including upcoming payments, as well as your entire history. You can view your influencer profile strength and make any necessary updates to your profile to put you in better position to be pitched. Edit your details such as compensation preferences and social accounts with ease. If you could ever use some help, you can access the Intellifluence knowledge base or contact support at any time from the app. As an influencer, there are never any fees associated with using our influencer marketing service, and you get to keep all of your earnings. Download the free Intellifluence for Influencers app today and get started.